is the Fade 5 Podcast with Brad Evans and Nate Lundy.
Place your bets, you jack wagons. Brad the Big Noise Evans here. The good son, Nathaniel Lundy. 'Tis indeed the Fade 5 Podcast presented by Suavecito Tequila. And we're coming to you a day early because gobble, gobble, gobble. We got feast to dive into on Thanksgiving Day, including a 3-pack of NFL games. So we want you to hopefully boost not only your waistline, but the bank account as well in the process. So Lundy.
Hold on. Brad, you know the beauty of today?
Yes.
The liquor stores are still open, including our friends at Total Wine, which means as you prepare for your crazy uncle to start spouting political opinions, at not even around the dinner table, just while he's standing there with
hanging out,
watching
the game.
Go swing by, go see your friends at Total Wine. They stock the beautiful Suavecito Añejo on their shelves. And if the liquor store closest to your casa as you get ready for Thanksgiving doesn't have it, demand it. Tell them. You got to get this stuff. Brad and Nate told me to, and make sure that they start stocking the Suavecito, because just because it's Thanksgiving, Brad, does not mean it doesn't have the opportunity to be a hashtag Tequila Thursday.
Amen to that, and it's a perfect pairing with the turkey. And whether you go the deep fried route or you bake it in a bag or whatever, make sure you go pick up a bottle of Suavecito Añejo, por favor. We would really appreciate it. Gracias in advance. And maybe there's an additional thank you in advance. With this selection, we got 3 games, as we normally do on Thanksgiving Day. I don't know if you looked at the side, the totals, but give me your pick to click in one of those 2 categories. Usually we feature a ton of player props on this broadcast. We're going to obviously get to that here in a moment with the Fade 5, but is there a side or total that stands out to you on Turkey Day?
Detroit sucks on Thanksgiving. They're bad, folks. This is historical. This just keeps going. There have been some that have been posting memes and posting things on social media of, can we just quit letting Detroit have Thanksgiving games by now? Just with how completely horrendous they are on Thanksgiving Day. And the fact that Buffalo is now very familiar with the locker rooms and the general layout of Ford Field. I don't care that it's 9.5. I'm laying the points. I think Buffalo wins this thing by double figures. Even though Detroit is on this winning streak that they are on right now, truth be told, I just don't know that they're going to be able to bait Buffalo into the turnovers that Detroit has been able to do over this 3-game winning streak that they are on. Please remember, Detroit had 2 interceptions and a fumble recovery against the Giants. They had the pick against Chicago, and they had 3 picks against Ron. So Detroit's on a bit of a turnover run right now. I expect Josh Allen to actually take better care of the ball than that. And so I think that Detroit's not going to have the opportunities that they've had over this 3-game winning streak. And therefore, I think it comes to a screeching halt. I think Buffalo covers. I think they cover late. I think this is a 4th quarter cover, but I think the Bills win it by double figures.
Yeah, I'm going to go to the Big Apple, and I know this game's going to be played in Big D, but I think the Giants are going to cover the 10. I think it's way too many points. Intra-divisional rivalry, and earlier this season, it was 23-16 in Jersey. What was the final outcome there? And the Giants have covered in 7 of the last 10 meetings with the Dallas Cowboys. So just way too many points. I think Dallas is going to win. But I think recency bias is being baked in after the bludgeoning, the annihilation of the Minnesota Vikings last week. But again, these 2 teams know each other. The Giants are, not going to go, softly in this one. And I think ultimately they're going to wind up with a +10 cover. So give me the G-Men there. All right, with that already in the oven, baking at 355 degrees. Let's get after it on this hashtag Tequila Wednesday / Thursday with another edition of the Fade 5.
Number 5.
All right, my favorite anytime touchdown prop, and I can't believe you can get this at pretty substantial plus money. on Turkey Day, but it's Zeke Elliott to cross the chalk at plus 130 at Caesars Sportsbook. This is a bit of a head scratcher. I know he played on 28.6% of the snap share. His return to the lineup last week, and Tony Pollard just has more explosiveness, more gas in the tank, more juice in the legs than Zeke Elliott. But when you get, knocking at the door in some of those second and goal, first and goal situations at like the 5-yard line, chances are strong that Zeke Elliott is going to get the ball in the belly, and he could splash 6 in the end. He's got 15 red zone touches on the season, 7 of the goal line variety in 7 games. He's got 5 touchdowns in his last 3 contests. Usually gets around 60% of the snap share, and I think he's going to get back to that normal volume this week. He had 16 for 71 and a touchdown in total yards against the G-Men back in week 3 in New York. Their biggest vulnerability has been in the trenches, as they're giving up 5.32 yards per carry and 10 total touchdowns to RBs. So Lundy, fade or follow, you about to get freaky with Zeke on an anytime touchdown, plus 130 at Caesars.
Like many fantasy owners, Brad, Zeke Elliott is dead to me. And he is to so many fantasy owners right now with the emergence of Tony Pollard within this offense and the snap share and the opportunities that he has been taking. I don't know, man. I mean, it's not that I necessarily disagree with the idea of him for an anytime touchdown. I just feel like there's some other guys that I probably could have some more fun with, put together a 2-leg anytime touchdown, maybe, especially in a game like we were just talking about with Buffalo and Detroit, where it's just pew, 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 plenty of points that are going to take place. So I'll follow you on this, but my guess is I can find something a little bit more fun than a guy that he's not in the doghouse, but do you get the feeling he's getting put out to pasture? Because I do.
Not really. I mean, Jerry Jones has kept saying, Zeke is still our guy, and Jerry's the one cut the checks.
Yeah, Jerry's also the ultimate politician, and you know it.
Yeah, he is. He is. Well, I tell you what, Zag, get the damn end zone regardless, Zeke.
Number 4.
All right, cue the Lady Gaga. Rah, 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 rah. Rah, 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 rah. Little Rhamondre Stevenson on the evening tip against the Minnesota Vikings. Give me the over on 3.5 receptions. A little juicy here, minus 125 at BetMGM. I say it's absolutely worth the increased juice here because it's all about the increased volume for him as a pass catcher. He is number 4 among all running backs with 17.5% of the team target share. He's averaging 17.4 routes per game. He is top 10 in yards per route run and top 10 in catch rate at 82%. He has been over this, Lundy, in 6 of his last 7 games. And look what Minnesota has yielded this season, a pass-catching back. They're going to have 5.3 receptions, 43.1 receiving yards per game. 4 guys have gone over this number against him. So Mac Jones, probably going to be a check down Charlie extraordinaire yet again. And as a result, rah, 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 pop the volume, baby, as a pass catcher. Give me the over on 3.5 receptions, minus 125 at BetMGM. Fade or follow.
True story, Brad. One of the great, a lot of times around the holidays, you have revelations about things about your family, right? If somebody brings home their newest girlfriend or boyfriend, and lots of hardware in the face, eyebrows, and that sort of thing can happen. Sometimes you find out things you didn't want to know about your family. True story. Few years ago at Thanksgiving, because there was a holiday special that was going to be airing, realized that my father is a massive Lady Gaga fan.
Really?
Yes. My dad loves him some Gaga. Just wanted to throw that out there. I don't like when you sing it, but it always makes me laugh because my dad is a huge Lady Gaga fan. It was when she did that holiday special with like Tony Bennett. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
It just she's crazy talented, and I just love the fact that my dad's a big fan. Yes, I jumped on this one. Truth be told, I actually paid more juice than this. I was at a minus 130 on this one, and it's still worth it. I know it sucks to pay the juice like that, folks. I get it, but this to me is an absolute no-brainer. I think he gets up above this number. I think he smashes it. I think we're looking at least 5. To be honest. So pay the juice, folks. I think this is one that you're going to feel comfortable that you're cashing early.
Do it for Gaga and do it for Lundy's dad.
Number 3.
All right, numero tres on the feed 5 today. Gabe Davis in that matchup against Detroit. Give me the over on 54.5 receiving yards, minus 115 at DraftKings. You look at the Lions, those Hello Kitties have definitely lived down to the nickname. 8.09 pass yards per attempt surrendered this season. 16 wideouts have gone over this number against him this year. And Amani Oruware is the likely assignment in this game for Gabe, and he has given up a 137.1 passer rating and 75% catch rate to his assignments. Davis, meanwhile, number 2 in ADOT, which again stands for average depth of target, number 10 in total deep ball targets, and number 1 in yards per route run. So when Josh Allen wants to uncork down the field, he goes to one of 2 options, Stephon Diggs or it's Gabe Davis. And usually when it connects with Gabe, it's a long chunk gain. He has done this 5 times this year. I think he's going to make it an ice cold 6-pack here in the end. And that sounds kind of tasty. Something to hydrate with after you drink a half a bottle of Suavecito. So fade or follow, my friend. Gabe Davis over 54.5 receiving yards against the Lions, minus 115 at DraftKings.
Numero uno, sir. If I were ranking the Fade 5 today, this would actually be my number 1 player prop. I jumped on this one. I actually did a 2-unit bet on this one. Doubled down. I really like this bet. I think he's going to smash this number. Like you said, I think there's folks that are sitting back saying, well, Detroit's on a 3-game winning streak and they're doing that. They're playing Josh Allen. I'm serious. They're playing Josh Allen. They're playing the Bills. They're playing the odds-on favorite to hoist the trophy in February. I mean, this is completely different than what they saw with Aaron Rodgers, than what they saw with Justin Fields, than what they saw with Daniel Jones. Josh Allen is a completely different beast. I get that they've won 3 games in a row. Congratulations, Detroit. You're going to get stomped tomorrow. I really believe Buffalo's going to smash them, and I think Gabe Davis is going to be part of the reason why.
Yeah, those true colors, cue the Cyndi Lauper, are going to be shining through. I just butchered the heck out of that. What you should do on this holiday is go pick up a lovely bottle of Suavecito Añejo and try to get the memory of me attempting to sing Cyndi Lauper out of your mind immediately. And the love juice will certainly help. If you're not familiar with Suavecito, in 2015, Forbes magazine in New York City contacted 10 tequila experts around the US of A. 1 in Cali, Texas, Florida, and New York. People who know tequila. And they asked these experts a simple question. What is the best tasting tequila in the United States? Well, a week later, on the front page of Forbes, there was a picture of a bottle of Suavecito Añejo. Grab some love juice this Thanksgiving and throw a betting fiesta, whether it's on a hashtag tequila Thursday or a hashtag tequila Wednesday or a hashtag tequila every day. Get a Suavecito bottle at any Total Wine and More store or ask for it where you are. We consider it a favor. Gracias.
Number 2.
All right, number 2. Oh, let's get seduced by that juice. And hopefully your turkey is going to be very juicy as well there in the end. Along with this wager, Jakobi Meyers over 4.5 receptions against the Vikes at plus 120 at DraftKings. And this is just like a neon sign flashing value in my mind on this wager. Why? Well, you've seen 24.5% of the team target share. That is a hefty amount, along with a number 15 ranking in yards per route one when targeted by Mac Jones or Bailey Zappi. He's got a 121.2 passer rating that he has posted. So he gets open, easy connections, whether in the short or intermediate field, operates a lot out of the slot around 50% of the time. He has been over this number, has Meyers, 4 times this season, and more importantly, he's going to get a lot of Shandon Sullivan, who I have discussed, and it is well documented how forgiving he is as a DB out of the slot. He has allowed an 83.3 catch rate and 115.8 pass rate in his assignments, and 11 wide receivers. 11 have caught at least 5 balls against Minnesota. Not so this year. So Lundy, fade or follow. Jakobi Meyers over 4.5 receptions plus 120 at DraftKings. You got to drop a quarter to the old slot machine.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I like this one. I like it at the plus odds, obviously. I am a little bit nervous. I'm not going to lie. A little nervous. I think there could be some Thanksgiving sweats taking place with this one. And I don't mean the kind that you wear with the elastic band so that you can fit all the food. Gotta have the stretchy pants, folks. You gotta leave yourself some room. You gotta go with that pair of jeans that maybe doesn't quite fit. They're a little too baggy on you. And if you don't have some, go out and buy some today. Like
get some pregnant lady jeans.
Yes.
They got the elastic waist. So you do yourself a favor.
Yeah, you got to go out and take care of this prior to Thursday. You can thank us later. You're going to look like a fool. Your family's going to make fun of you, but you're going to be comfortable while the rest of them are angry that they're popping buttons on their Levi's later on in the evening. But we're going to be sweating this one out. Because, Brad, I truly believe Meyers is going to finish at either 4 or 5, that this is going to come back down to a late catch that he does to get over that number. I actually had a player prop hit last night in the Nuggets-Pistons debacle here in Denver that hit, frankly, on the last play of the game. So I understand the whole idea of sweating this stuff out. I think we're going to be sweating this one, but the plus 120 is the reason that I'm on board.
Oh, get seduced by that juice. And go ahead. Unbutton those pants.
Number 1.
All right, my favorite side on Thanksgiving Day, for me, it's a twice-baked potato. I eat like 3 of them, skin included. A close second is a green bean casserole, especially when you have the crunchy onions on top, those fried onions. Oh, it's wonderful. But no, water chestnuts, you jerks. Anyway, some people actually do that, and they defy the tastiness of the green bean casserole. I got consistency issues. But anyway, what will be consistent this week is Tony Pollard. Here is an OGP/SGP, and I put this together at BetMGM. Give me Tony Pollard, 55-plus rush yards. Give me Tony Pollard, 15-plus receiving yards. Oh, that is a cool plus 120 at the Lion here at Roar there in the background. And that's what Pollard was last week. He was the king of the fantasy jungle and the sports betting world as well against the Minnesota Vikings in that mauling on the road. A guy, last week played 54.3% of the snap share. So he's still, get right around 45 to 55% of the opportunity share overall. He did have 21 total touches in that game. He was Zeke back in uniform. I think he's going to cede some more work to Zeke this time around, but not a ton. He is number 1 among all running backs in yards after contact per attempt, 4.35 on the season. He's forcing a missed tackle 22% of the time. He has achieved both of these thresholds in 3 games this year. And I mentioned the downside of the Giants defensively. It's on the ground in particular. 5.32 yards per carry, 141.5 total yards per game. That is what they have surrendered this season, the running back position. Now, Pollard didn't catch a ball, only had 1 target in the first matchup back in week 3, but he did run for a $105 on 13 attempts. So I just love the bounce in this guy's step. And I love the fact that they're starting to utilize him more in the pass game. Lundy, knowing all that, fade or follow on this SGP/OGP. Come with me. Tony Pollard, 55-plus rush yards. Tony Pollard, 15-plus receiving yards at plus 120 at BetMGM. And could you get me another twice-baked potato, please?
No. First of all, I'm here to keep you from carbing out completely.
I need the carbs. I need them.
that's where the crash happens, dude. That's where you start and then boom, you come crashing down. The other reason you come crashing down is because most of us start drinking at approximately 9:15 in the morning. But remember, you can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning, folks. I'm going to follow on this one. This is another one that I like. I've got an OGP, SGP for us as well coming up here in bonus time that I like a lot. That's got a really simple payday on it, much like this one does. So I'm down with this one with Pollard. I already told you I'm kind of down on Zeke. Like I told you before, I don't disagree with your anytime touchdown on Zeke, but I think right now with what Pollard's doing, I think Jerry Jones is full of shit. I think this offense knows who their stud is and how they can keep some defenses on their toes. I think as good as Zeke is, he's not Derrick Henry. He's just not. So as much as you want to try to plow him between the tackles, I think Tony Pollard gives them a lot more options on their offense and hopefully opens up some things for them for Dak. And I think that's why they lean on him so much. So this is a good one. Nice plus 120. Nice, simple payday, my friend. Nice work. Nice work.
Yes, and go ahead and grab a clean plate. Let's have a second helping. It's bonus time. What else you got, whether on Thanksgiving Day or maybe since we're taping this pod on a Wednesday? Holy mackerel, there's a lot of college hoops to choose from, and it starts early.
Well, Brad, much the way you defer to me when it comes to hockey, I'm going to defer to you on the college basketball. So I'm going to leave that one for you. Let me continue on Thursday's holiday slate here. Let me talk. We were just talking about Dallas, so let me stick with Dallas for a second. There's two other player props that I like. Give me the over on 37.5 receiving yards on one Dalton Schultz. I like that one a lot. Couple of reasons why. He did not play against the Giants earlier this year. He was out for that game, but his three previous games against the Giants, against the G-Men, if we go back to both 2021 and then the last matchup of 2020, Brad, 8 catches for 79, 8 catches for 67, 7 catches for 70.
Wow.
So you put all of that together, Dalton Schultz is a guy that clearly gets up for these games against the Giants. And the crazy part about last year, by the way, 8 catches on 8 targets, 8 catches on 8 targets. So dude did not miss his opportunities against the Giants. So I'm taking the over on that 37.5 yards receiving. As a matter of fact, he averages in his career, his entire career against the Giants, he averages 34 yards per game against the G-Men. So I think that 37.5 is extremely doable for him. I think he can do it basically on 3 catches, let alone if he gets up into that 6-7 range that I was just talking about. I think recency bias is in on this next one. Give me the under on Dak Prescott longest completion, which sits at 36.5. Folks, the only game he's done, I know he's only played 5 games this year, but the only game he did it was the last one. Other than that, he's been under this total the entire time. If you go all the way back to last season, in a total of 16 games, it was 50-50. He went over the number in 8 of them. He went under the number in 8 of them. So I think this recency bias has pushed this number too high. So I'm going to take the under on the 36.5 there. Let me jump over to the Buffalo Bills, shall we? I know you're going to like this one, Brad. 1 game parlay for you. Stephon Diggs, 75 or more receiving. Gabe Davis, 40 or more receiving. At DraftKings, that is a nice plus 115.
Yes!
So love that one a lot. Now let me get to the ice because we have 3, 6, 9, 12. There's a ton of freaking games in hockey tonight. You know I'm all about the goal in the first 10. So let me give you a couple of options here for you that you can roll with. This is a 2-legger for a yes goal in the first 10. From the early slate, St. Louis and Buffalo. Follow that up with Nashville in Dallas. You put those two together, it's a plus 157. Now on the evening tip, same thing, goal in the first 10 on a 2-legger. Ottawa is in Vegas. Chicago is in Dallas. Do a goal in the first 10 in both of those. It is a plus 152. And you want to be a numbers geek with me for a second? Let's do it together, shall we, Einstein? Check this out, Brad. The New York Islanders, if all you had done all season long is bet the no on their goal in the first 10, regardless of who they're playing, you would be up approximately 22 units right now. In 19 games, the Islanders have only either had or allowed a goal in the first 10 3 times in 19 games.
Wow.
So with that in mind, I continue to ride the no on the Islanders because of those odds. Even if it were to happen tonight, chances are in their very next game, it won't, based on how they have been playing so far. So they are at home tonight against Edmonton. If you take the no at DraftKings, it is a plus 130. That's the reason why it's so crazy that you would be up about 22 units roughly if all you had done was say the no all season on the Islanders, is because the no on the gifts, for those of you that don't bet this very often, are always plus odds. So this is a really good spot to be. So I would bet that one by itself. I like those other gifts as well. There you go, my friend. I hand the baton to you. What else you got for Thanksgiving? And I know you want to be betting on some college hoops tonight.
Oh, yes, and I'm going to reserve some of those selections here for just a little bit later on the pod. Let's get back to the NFL, and you and I were talking about this off air right before we hit the record button on this pod, but DraftKings is a ton of Thanksgiving specials, and if you click on the tab, there is one that I think is quite exciting at plus 5,000. That's right, you heard that correctly, plus 5,000, and that's for James Cook to be the yardage on the ground leader on Thursday among running backs. Again, among running backs, Saquon Barkley is the pace setter according to the odds in that category, but it's all about maximizing the matchup, and it's all about maybe recency bias. It is a hell of a drug playing a factor here. He went over 80 yards last week, and he's a guy that's got a lot of explosiveness in those legs. He's starting to siphon off, starting to chew and chip away at the opportunity share with Devin Singletary in that Buffalo backfield. We know that Detroit has been very generous to opposing running backs, giving up close to 5 yards per carry, over 100 rush yards per game. So in a contest in which Lundy laid out a very strong case that the Bills could come in and just blast the doors off the Ford Field arena there, I think ultimately Cook can get a ton of work late in this game, maybe rip one off for a long chunk gainer, could be for 6. If he goes for, close to what he did last week, he could lead all the NFL running backs in rushing yards on Thursday. So at plus 5,000, it's worth at least a half a unit, also called a Funston. There's a backstory there. Also, I like Josh Allen to have the most pass yards at plus 240. Again, at DraftKings under Thanksgiving Day specials. Another guy that should be able to take advantage of a defense has been overly forgiving the entire season. I know they play better of late, but still giving up 8+ pass yards per attempt. I believe he comes in and bombards Detroit, very familiar sitting there at Ford Field for Josh Allen. Elsewhere, give me Daniel Jones on SGP under 225.5 pass yards, and give me the Cowboys to cover on an alt line minus 2.5. Both those events occur. It's plus 100 at DraftKings, so it's even money. I don't think Daniel Jones cracks 200 yards. The fact that he cracked 300 yards last week means gather as many canned food items as you can, because the world is ending. There is no way that's going to be remotely close again here this week, not against this Dallas Cowboys secondary. So under 225.5 pass yards on a same gamer with Dallas minus 2.5. You get that at even money. And then last one, you mentioned Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis together in a same game parlay. I got Stephon Diggs and Amon-Ra St. Brown. So Diggs is 75+ receiving yards, Amon-Ra at 60+ receiving yards, because one of the biggest areas of vulnerability for this Bills secondary is out of the slot. And that's exactly what Amon-Ra mans. And if they're playing catch-up in this game, could see 10 to 12 targets. So 60+ for Amon-Ra, 75+ yards for Diggs. That's plus 120 at DraftKings Sportsbook. All right, college basketball. Let me go lightning fast here. Try to get you some late night games on this Wednesday, or later games at least. Give me Charleston minus 2 against Kent State. Charleston's been outstanding so far this season. They got wins against Richmond, Colorado State, and Virginia Tech already this year. A team that is number 24 in the nation in offensive efficiency. They're a plus offensive rebounding team, get a lot of second chance opportunities, crash a glass in that instance. However, they are 338 in 2-point percentage D. So they're giving up too many easy buckets around the basket. But Kent State, they turn the ball over frequently. Number 4, the fourth highest turnover percentage offense on the season at 28.7. So shoot themselves in the foot routinely. Plus, they're a pretty bad rebounding team. So those second chance opportunities, as I mentioned, where Charleston will play a factor in this one. Kent State's 2, their best win against Portland. Number 130, according to Bart Torvik. So I'm going to lay the deuce there. Cincinnati, just fade Louisville in every instance this season. I will lay the 7.5 of the Bearcats in Maui at minus 110. I'd play this number maybe as high as like 14.5. I'm not going to lie to you. You look at Cincinnati, they're not an outstanding team by any stretch of the imagination. They lost to Arizona, but they were competitive, 101-93. Then they turn around and lose to Ohio State, 81-53. So they got trounced by the Buckeyes, but they're number 61 and adjusted offensive efficiency. Another team that gets after it on the offensive glass. And I think Landers Noli is going to have himself a hell of a game working inside and out because Louisville doesn't defend anybody. Number 266 so far this season in offensive efficiency, and number 171 in defense efficiency. They're 0-5, losing 80-54 to Arkansas and 70-38 against Texas Tech. That game was over the first 5 minutes of the first half. So I will lay the chalk there with the Bearcats. And then last, and certainly not least, give me the under in the Butler Tennessee Volunteers game, 136.5. Vols, very good defensive team, number 5 in the country in defensive efficiency. Butler, decent in that category too, number 63 nationally. Both teams play, rather methodically. They're right around 175 at adjusted tempo. And you look at the offenses, not great, especially on the Tennessee side. Number 273 in effective field goal percentage offense. Butler hasn't really shot the three well. They are netting over 60% inside the arc. So I think this game will be slower paced. I think this game is going to be maybe in the low 60s in the end. I'm not picking a winner here, but give me the under on 136.5. All right, that is a wrap on this supersized edition of the Fade 5 podcast. Have a happy and glorious Thanksgiving, and do us a favor. Give us thanks by dropping a rating or a review, would you kindly, and feed or follow our wagers on the Twitter. Follow Lundy at Nate Lundy. Follow me there at Noisy Huevos. We both have free, accessible spreadsheets. The good, the bad, the ugly, can track it all on those spreadsheet picks. Until next time, grab another plate, would you? And another Suavecito. As always, fade or follow. That is up to you.